Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Especially if you are, someone who loves to stay ahead of the curve,
Yeah.
but you absolutely do not want to drown in the information fire hose.
Right, and there is definitely a massive fire hose of news this week.
Oh, man, it is wild. Because today is Friday, July 10th, 2026, and, the AI landscape just had what has to be one of the most explosive weeks in its history.
Yeah, we're seeing a complete redefinition of what a model is even supposed to be good at. The baseline expectations have just been, well, they've been rewritten entirely.
Completely. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack a very dense, fact-packed dispatch from Aaron Rose's Tech Reader AI Digest.
Which is a great read, by the way.
It really is. And the core theme of his reporting this week is that AI has officially graduated. Like, we are officially leaving the chat interface era.
Right, the era of just asking questions.
Exactly. We're no longer just asking a digital oracle questions and reading its answers.
Yeah.
We have entered the agentic worker era. We're literally handing the AI the mouse and the keyboard and telling it to go execute multi-step work for us.
Which is, that's the leap from a highly capable search engine to a highly capable digital employee. And the growing pains of that transition are completely on display in the data we're looking at today.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to really understand this shift, we have to start with the most confusing, maybe the most paradoxical model launch of the week. Let's look at Grok 4.5.
Oh, yeah. The numbers on this one are wild.
They are. Artificial Analysis just put out their first day verdict on it, and the results are frankly bizarre. On their intelligence index, Grok 4.5 ranks 4th.
Right.
You got a score of 54, putting it behind Claude Fable 5, GPT 5.5, and Claude Opus 4.8. But somehow, it scored the absolute highest on agentic tool use out of every single model on the board.
It is a really fascinating split. It is not the smartest model in the room by traditional metrics, but it is currently the most capable of actually executing a complex sequence of actions in a digital environment.
It totally sounds like Grok 4.5 is that, like highly confident, incredibly fast intern who is amazing at navigating 15 different software programs.
But you absolutely cannot trust them to write a factual report unsupervised.
Exactly. Because I'm looking at Aaron Rose's digest, and the hallucination problem is a massive red flag. The hallucination rate jumped from 25% in Grok 4.3 to a staggering 54% in this new launch.
More than half the time, it is literally just making things up.
Right. So how can a model that hallucinates 54% of the time be considered the best tool user? It knows more, but it's somehow vastly more confident when it's completely wrong.
What's fascinating here is that this apparent flaw actually defines the entirely new way we have to think about these models. Aaron Rose makes this crucial distinction. Grok 4.5 is a tool use engine, not an oracle.
Okay, so it's not meant to just spit out facts.
Right. A 54% hallucination rate means you absolutely cannot use Grok 4.5 for what we call zero-shot text generation.
Which is when you just ask it to do something on the first try.
Exactly. First try, no examples, no feedback, and you just blindly trust the output. If you ask Grok to write a factual historical essay on the first try, it will confidently lie to you.
So the value isn't in what it inherently knows, it's in how it interacts with the space around it, right?
Precisely. You have to build workflows with what developers call output validation loops. You need an environment that actually catches the errors.
Oh, I see.
So if Grok writes a bad piece of code, the compiler throws an error, Grok reads that error message, realizes its mistake, and rewrites the code. The environment provides the ground truth, not the model's internal memory.
Wow, okay. And when you put it in that kind of structured environment where it can fail and try again, it apparently just crushes the competition.
It really does.
The digest brings up Snorkel AI's GDP Val Plus evaluation. And just so you know, this isn't just an AI taking a multiple choice test. These are real multi-step workplace tasks authored by human domain experts.
And how'd it do?
Grok 4.5 hit a 29% mean pass rate, which I know, it doesn't sound very high, until you realize GPT 5.5 only got 22% and Claude Opus 4.8 got 21%.
Wow.
Yeah, Grok is dominating in heavy-duty, rigorous fields like legal analysis, education, healthcare, and software QA.
Because in those highly structured professional workflows where an AI is using tools to pull data or run diagnostic checks, Grok 4.5's ability to iterate through errors makes it the most capable digital employee available.
Despite the hallucinations.
Completely, despite that 54% hallucination rate, it just brute forces its way to the correct answer by trying, failing, and adjusting.
Now, I do want to briefly flag a couple of major caveats the digest mentions for anyone trying to implement this immediately. First, XAI delayed the EU launch of Grok 4.5 to mid-July because of regulatory reviews.
Right, standard compliance holdup.
Yeah, so a massive chunk of the global developer base can't even touch this yet. Second, Grok's specific scores on the cursor bench coding evaluation are apparently contaminated.
Ah, right, the accidental training data overlap. That's a known issue here.
Yeah, it was heavily trained on data from Cursor, which is an ID, an integrated development environment where coders work. So it essentially saw the answers before it took the test. Aaron Rose advises using your own holdout data to test its coding abilities.
Which brings us to the next critical piece of this puzzle. If models like Grok 4.5 are no longer just conversational chatbots, but are acting as digital employees taking real actions, they need a workspace to operate in.
Right.
You cannot just give a digital employee a brain. You have to give them a desk, a computer, and access to the company files.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the two biggest players in the industry realized this exact same thing.
Yeah.
And on July 9th, literally yesterday, they went to war over that digital desk.
Oh, yeah. The agentic workspace wars have officially begun.
OpenAI and Anthropic launched competing agentic platforms on the exact same day. So let's look at OpenAI's move first. They launched ChatGPT Work,
Which merged their chat and Codex desktop apps, right?
Yep, into one unified platform running on GPT 5.6.
Mhm.
But the killer feature is that on day one, it comes with 15 third-party integrations that you can call upon simply by using an app mentioned in the text box.
That completely changes the friction of getting work done.
It's insane. You just type at Google Drive, at Slack, at Teams, Salesforce, GitHub, and the AI uses APIs to securely reach into those programs and do the work. OpenAI's Fidji Simo even said they are competing with IDEs and Office suites now, not WhatsApp.
And Anthropic clearly anticipated this, because on the exact same news cycle, they launched Claude Cowork, powered by their Claude models and wrapped in their constitutional AI safety infrastructure.
But they took a really different angle.
They did. They launched on the web, but critically, they pushed heavily into mobile.
Which, I have to say, I found that choice confusing at first. Why prioritize a mobile app for complex, enterprise-level agentic work? People don't usually write code on their phones.
No, they don't. But Aaron Rose points out this was highly disciplined competitive intelligence. Anthropic knew OpenAI was dropping a massive desktop integration bomb, so they counterpunched by untethering the agentic session entirely.
Oh, that makes sense.
Think about the nature of this new work. If you are handing an AI an hours-long knowledge work session, you do not want to sit at your desktop and babysit the progress bar the whole time.
No, you want to delegate it and walk away.
Exactly. By launching Claude Cowork on mobile, Anthropic allows you to kick off a complex workflow from your laptop, leave the office, and monitor the AI's progress remotely from your phone in the back of the cab.
So OpenAI wants your desktop real estate, and Anthropic wants to be the invisible project manager living in your pocket.
Precisely.
So for you listening, if your daily workflow involves jumping between Slack and Salesforce and Google Drive, this week just changed how you will work for the rest of your career.
The chat interface is dead.
It really is. The text box where you used to ask for a recipe is dead. The battleground is now the hours-long knowledge work session. But while OpenAI and Anthropic are moving at lightning speed, we have to talk about the massive players sitting on the sidelines watching their launch window slam shut.
You're talking about Google.
I am. The saga of Gemini 3.5 Pro. According to the Digest, as of today, July 10th, Gemini 3.5 Pro has no confirmed launch date.
Not at all.
It is stuck in a limited Vertex AI Enterprise preview. That makes it a full 6 weeks past its June 30 general availability target. But I actively want to question this panic a bit. Google is a trillion-dollar behemoth. Does a mere 6-week delay really matter in the grand scheme of things?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yes, it matters immensely. In the AI world, time is totally relative.
How so?
Well, on June 30, which was Google's target, GPT 5.5 was the only Western frontier model. Just weeks later, Gemini faces a wildly crowded market. GPT 5.6, Sol, Terra, and Lunar are public.
Right.
Grok 4.5 is out, Claude Sonnet 5 is the default, and Claude Fable 5 is leading intelligence boards. Developer habits are solidifying without Google.
So they are locking themselves into other ecosystems.
Exactly. Enterprises are building their next-gen architecture right now. Once that's built for OpenAI or Grok, they aren't tearing it down just because Gemini finally launched.
To be fair, though, Gemini 3.5 Pro still has some massive advantages left whenever it does launch. It has a 2 million token context window, the largest available.
Which is huge for massive data sets.
Right. Entire code bases or years of financial records. Plus, they have that deep think reasoning mode. And the digest suggests Google might just be waiting for the August 1st NSA CISA framework deadline to launch safely and avoid regulatory risk.
That makes perfect sense for a giant like Google, but as Aaron Rose warns, every week delays the adoption curve because developer adoption isn't just about cool features like a 2 million token window.
No, it ultimately comes down to the brutal math of enterprise economics. So what does this all mean? Let's pivot to your bottom line. Because under all this software innovation, there is a vicious price war happening.
The numbers this week are staggering.
Let's go back to Grok 4.5. XAI claims a massive 4.2x token efficiency gap. On the SW Bench Pro evaluation, Grok 4.5 used about 57,954 output tokens to solve a real-world software issue. Claude Opus 4.8 takes over 67,020 output tokens for the exact same problem.
Which is, how does it solve it using a quarter of the word?
It just writes tighter code and skips all the conversational pleasantries. It doesn't say, here is the code you requested. It just outputs the logic. And when you look at the pricing, Grok 4.5 is $6 per million tokens. Opus 4.8 is $25.
So when you multiply that cheaper price by the fact that it uses fewer tokens...
That is a staggering 17x cost difference per agentic coding task. 17 times cheaper.
That forces the hand of any CTO managing a budget. And it's not just Grok. OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Luna is priced at $1 for input and $6 for output, and it scored an 84.3% on Terminal Bench 2.1.
So it's the economically rational default for high-volume coding.
Exactly. And even DeepSeek V4 Pro is offering an incredibly cheap 87-cent per million output option.
Well, under $1.
But while inference costs are plummeting for us, the physical hardware required to run these models is straining. We're seeing unprecedented capital expenditures.
The hardware realities are crazy right now.
SK Hynix just filed for a $28 billion U.S. IPO. Jefferies is warning of a 40 to 50% DRAM price surge for Q3 2026.
And Meta is targeting an insane 14 gigawatts of computing power by 2027 with custom chips, right alongside their new Muse Spark 1.1 model launch.
Which means, to survive in this landscape, you cannot just pick one model. You must route accordingly. You have to match the task's complexity to the model's price and tool use capabilities.
You act like a manager routing work to the right digital employee.
Exactly.
Well, to wrap up this deep dive, the massive paradigm shift here is that we have officially moved from oracles that tell us things to digital engines that actually do things.
Right, which leaves me with a final, unmentioned thread to mull over.
Lay it on us.
If we are handing over hours-long knowledge work sessions to digital agents like Grok 4.5 agents that cost fractions of a penny but hallucinate over 50% of the time, are we about to enter an era where human managers spend more time policing and fixing the mistakes of cheap AI agents than they would have spent just doing the work themselves?
Oh, wow. The AI doesn't replace the worker. It just turns them into an exhausted editor for a very fast, very confident intern. That is a brilliant and slightly terrifying thought. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, stay intensely curious, and we will see you next time.